Hello everyone, I am Divya, Faculty of Computer Science and Engineering, MIT, Mysore. Today we are going to start our third module, that is network layer. In the previous two modules, we have studied about application layer followed by transport layer. In the application layer, we have studied about various protocols, that is HTTP, we have studied about DNS and FTP, right, email system, web, all these things we have studied in our first module. In the second module, that is in the transport layer, we have studied about the connections, that is TCP and UDP, isn't it? These protocols makes use of these protocols in order to establish connection between two different hosts which are spread across in the network. Now, when we say TCP, it is a connection oriented protocol and UDP is a connectionless protocol. We have studied this also in the second module, that is transport layer, right? Moving on to the next layer, that is network layer. Here we are going to learn about internet protocol. Okay. So, as we all know, the transport layer provides us a process to process communication between two hosts. The network layer provides us the host to host connection between two hosts or two systems which are spread across, right. Now, we will see how exactly two hosts that are distributed across in a network communicates with each other. And we have one more host located somewhere in the network which okay, this is the recipient host and I want to send an information or data from this host to this host. So, how does it work? An application layer sends its data to the transport layer, that is the layer below the application layer, right. The transport layer splits that data or breaks up the data into small data chunks. Okay. It breaks up the data to small data chunks and it encapsulates the information about the process and the host, that is at the destination, okay, to which host, to which process exactly the data that is being sent from the application layer need to be transmitted to. That details or information is going to be encapsulated to these data chunks, okay, and we call that as segments, okay. So, segments is created by transport layer, okay. Once it creates a segment, it pushes that particular detail to the next, to the layer beneath it, that is network layer. Network layer once again encapsulates further information to these segments, okay. It encapsulates further information to these segments and we call that as datagrams, the resultant packet, okay, datagrams, okay. It will encapsulate few more details to the segments and then that particular datagram or packet is pushed onto the network, okay, is pushed onto the network from the host to the recipient host, okay, from the sender to the recipient host. During this process, while traveling from here till here, it will come across various routers in between, okay, various routers in between which are going to forward these packets from the sender to a receiver, okay. We are going to study about this portion here in this module. What exactly happened in this particular region, that we are going to study in this module. Once the packet reaches the network layer at the recipient side, again it will be decapsuled. Okay, whatever data that has been encapsulated here in the network layer is going to be decapsulated, and it is forwarded to the transport layer, where transport layer decapsulates further information which is encapsulated by it at the host sender host, and then it is forwarded to the appropriate process here. Okay, this is how the data from sender to a receiver is happening, right? Sorry, this is sender. This is how the data is traveling from sender to receiver, right? So, what is the functionality of network layer in this process? We have seen one functionality, that is encapsulating few more information we have already seen. Along with that, what else the network layer does? It also does few things which are related to the physical layer and the link layer, that is link layer, while forwarding it from here to here. Okay, it detaches the physical connection with respect to the routers which come across here. Okay, and then along with this, it also does forwarding of packets, routing of packets. Okay, forwarding of packets and routing of packets. We will look into it in more detail with the next scenario. Now consider we have a network, we have 3 networks spread across. Okay, we have 3 networks N1, N2, N3 spread across. Okay, and we have several hosts here. We have A, B, C, D, and here we have few more hosts. Similarly, we got few more hosts here, E, F, G, like this. Okay, these 3 networks are connected to each other through various routers. Okay, routers are represented like this. Okay, let this be R1, R2, R3 and R4. Network N1 is connected through R1 and N2 is connected to R2. We have R3 connected to network N3 and we have R4 connected to some other network. For time being, we will have this much. Okay, so this is how it is connected. Okay, now I want to send an information from host A, which is residing at network N1, to host E, which is residing at network N3. So how does it happens? It has to pass through these routers in order to reach N3. When I say that it has to pass through these routers, there are multiple ways through which it can pass through, multiple ways or multiple paths through which the packets can pass through. If you observe here, from R1 it can take R2, R3 and then to the respective host, or it can also take R1 to R4 and then R3 and then to the host, or it can go to R1 and then R3 to the respective host. So just by looking at this simple network picture itself, there are 3 paths available through which the packet from host A moves to the host E, right? So it's the duty of network layer to make it possible for a data packet to transmit from this end, from this network to this network, right? That is the duty of network layer. How exactly it passes here? First, when a host A wants to send an information or data to host E, it encapsulates it with the information that we have already discussed, and that particular packet is being routed to its nearest router, that is R1 here in this case. Okay, then R1 will check for the appropriate output link here. If we consider this particular router R1 with respect to N1, this becomes the input link. Okay, this becomes the input link for R1, and these 3, 2, 3, 4, these 3 acts as an output link, right. So, looking at the destination address that has been specified in the data packet that has arrived through input link, R1 makes a decision as to which output link that particular data need to be forwarded. Okay. So, based on that, it will forward the packet to the respective output link. If this is the optimum route, for example, if N1 to R1 to R3 to N3 is the optimum route through which the packet can be transferred from host A to host E, then R1 will look into the proper output link. So, 3 becomes the proper output link in this case. So, here with respect to R3, this acts as an input link, right. This acts as an input link with respect to this particular path. So, after receiving the packet here, R3 will check the destination address that has been specified in the packet, and it will forward that to the respective output link. Here, if this becomes the input link 2, 3, 4, these 3 becomes the output link for R3, right. Depending upon the destination address that has been specified, R3 will determine that the host to which the data has to be sent is residing in this particular network. So, this is the nearest router for this network. So, it will push that to the respective host here, and then that will be further pushed to the respective process in that particular host, right. So, this is how a data from host A to date is transferred to host E through a network, right. So, when I say network, how does exactly router transfers from input link to output link? We are going to study it in the next step. So, as we have already seen a router with input link and various output link, okay, there are 2 functionalities which we need to consider. One is forwarding and second one is routing. What do we mean by these things? These 2 are the functionalities which are going to be done or carried out by router, right. So, router is going to perform these 2 functionalities in order to transfer a packet which is arriving to it, right. So, what is forwarding? When a data packet arrives to router through input link, it forwards or it dispatches or it transmits to the appropriate output. That becomes the forwarding. So, what do we mean by forwarding? Forwarding is nothing but transmitting data pack or packet, okay, arriving router through input port to appropriate output port, okay. This becomes the forwarding, for us. Then what do we mean by routing? So, within a router forwarding takes place, and while doing forwarding it takes help of forwarding table or routing table, okay. With the help of forwarding table, where it specifies the appropriate output link for the particular data packet, the router is going to transmit the packet which has arrived it through input port to the appropriate output port. That constitutes the forwarding function for us. Then what do we mean by routing? As we have already seen in the previous diagram where we had several routers, right. So, we had seen the optimum path through which the data packet can be transferred from sender to receiver, right. There were plenty of ways through which it can be transferred. There are plenty of paths available in the network. Among them, which is the optimum path that is going to be routed, right, that is going to be determined. That is called as routing. Routing means transferring the packet from one end to another end through different routers is called as routing. Okay. So there are plenty of algorithms available in order to determine which is the better path from host, from sender to a receiver. Those algorithms are called as routing algorithm. Okay. So in this particular module, we are going to study about what exactly router does, how exactly router functions in order to transmit the data packet from one end to another end, and then we are going to study about internet protocol, right. After that, we are going to study about various routing algorithms through which we determine the path through which the packet should transfer from one end to another end in the network in order to arrive the destination. Okay. This is what we are going to study in the network layer in this particular module. The next topic that we are going to discuss is the router. As we have already seen in our previous discussion that router plays a major role in case of network layer. So we will study how exactly router works and what are the components that are involved in router. When I say router, router has four major components. The very first one is input port, and then routing processor, switch fabric, and output port. What exactly happens here? Okay. So a packet, data packet or datagram enters router through input port. Here we have three boxes. Okay. We have three stages or functionalities that is happening. In the very first box, the functionalities with respect to physical link will happen. It detaches the physical connection for that particular router from the network. Okay. It detaches the physical connection for that particular packet from the network, and then it is forwarded to the next place. Okay. Here the functionalities with respect to data link layer will take place. Okay. And then it will be forwarded. Here input port will determine to which output port it has to be forwarded. Okay. This is done with the help of routing processor. The packet is then moved on to the switching fabric here, which actually maps between the input port to the appropriate output ports. There will be plenty of output port line here, and we have plenty of input port line here. So switching fabric acts as a heart here. Okay. This actually connects or pushes the packet that is coming from input port to the appropriate output port in order to make it to go to the next router. Okay. Here once again the reverse of this process will happen. Once the packet reaches the output port buffer, the packet will be taken by the output port, and the functionalities with respect to data link layer will happen at this place, and then the functionalities with respect to the physical link will happen here, and it will be pushed out to the network. Okay. Between these things, between these process, routing processor is the one which will calculate the details for forwarding table. Okay. Forwarding table is one which contains the details about the appropriate output port to which the incoming packet need to be transmitted. Okay. So when it is calculated, the shadow copy of this forwarding table is being kept here with each input port. Okay. So the decision of pushing the packet to the appropriate output port will be taken here itself. So the centralized operation bottleneck is avoided here, right. We have a shadow copy of forwarding table or routing table kept at each input port link, with the help of which the packet is going to be pushed onto the switching fabric, specifying the appropriate output port to which it has to be pushed, and then switching fabric connects that to the respective output port line, and it will be transmitted further. So this is how the four main components of routers work in order with each other, with coordination, in order to push the packet that is arriving to the router to the next router or to the next host in the network. Okay. So, after this we will learn one by one, we will learn each component one by one, how exactly input port works, how exactly routing processor will work, what exactly it does, how exactly switching fabric works and so on. Okay. So, now we will look at the input processing that is happening at the input port line. Okay. As soon as the packet arrives, the very first thing that is going to happen is line termination. This is with respect to physical link. Okay. The input port detaches the physical connection with respect to this packet to the router, okay, to the router. Once it is done, it's been transmitted to the next level, next place where the data link functionalities will be taken care. Okay. Once that is done, this is forwarded to the next place where the lookup and forwarding and queuing aspects will be taken care. This is central to the router. Okay. These functions are central to the router with respect to the network layer. As we have already discussed, the routing processor will calculate the forward values in forwarding table. Okay. It calculates the values in forwarding table and update those values and makes a shadow copy of those values, and it will be distributed to all the input port lines that are available. Okay. The shadow copy of forwarding table will be maintained at each of the input port lines. Okay. The transfer of this copy of the shadow copy of this particular forwarding table from routing processor to input lines are done through a separate bus. Okay. It will be done through a separate bus. Since we have a separate copy of forwarding table for each of these input port lines, there is no necessity of approaching routing processor every time for each of the packets that is arriving at the each input port. Okay. So, it is not centralized. So, the bottleneck that might be created due to the centralized functionalities will be resolved here at this stage. Okay. At this stage it will be resolved, and then lookup will be done on the forwarding table, and with the help of the information that is being stored in the forwarding table, the packet will be moved further to the switch fabric, through which it will be forwarded to the respective output port. Okay. Along with this, one more functionality, that is queuing, also taken care here. What happens if multiple packets arrive at the input port? It will be queued one behind other. At a time only one packet can be served. It has to, the remaining packets need to wait for its turn to enter to the switch fabric, right. So, and one more thing, say packets that are arriving at the same input port might not be destined to the same output port. So, each packet has to wait for its turn to have a forwarding function for transmitting it to further networking. Okay. So, this is how the input processing happens in our network. Next we will move on to the output processing. It is just the reverse of this. We will have a look at it. So, here we are going to look at how exactly it works in output port line. Okay, once a switching fabric pushes the packets from input port to the output port line, here the packets will be queued, right. There will be plenty of packets pushed to output ports. So, the very first thing that output port does is it selects the packet among the queued packets, and then after selecting that it dequeues that and it does all the data link layer related and the physical link layer functionality that has to be performed, and then it will be pushed out to the network. Okay. The reverse of input processing is the output processing. In case of input processing, packet will arrive at router, and there the physical link connection is detached, and then the data link layer functionalities will be performed, and then the proper output link is determined there with the help of forwarding table and routing processor, and then it will be moved on to the switch fabric. From the switch fabric it will be pushed on to output port link, from where we are going to check what are the queued packets are available there in the output queue, and then the one among those packets will be taken, and then for that particular packet the data link layer and the physical link layer functionalities will be performed and then pushed out to the network to destine it to the respective destination host, right. So, this is how output processing works. Now, we will look into the next major component of router, that is switching fabric. How exactly switching happens? Switching can be done in three ways. The one is through memory, okay, and then through a shared bus, and then through a crossbar or interconnection of network. Okay. So, this is the very first thing is with respect to memory. Like here we are using a memory in order to transfer a packet, in order to switch a packet from input port to output port. How exactly it works? This is the most easiest and oldest technology or technique with which the router is switching the packets. Okay. So, here it exactly works as a traditional computer system. Okay. Whatever input packets that are arriving from input port are copied to the memory. Here CPU plays a major role. Okay. Whatever packets that are arriving to the network, arriving to the router will be copied to the memory, right. And then with the help of routing processor, by looking at the forwarding table and calculating the appropriate output port, it will be copied onto the output port line. Okay. If we have 3 input port, that is A, B, C, and I have X, Y, Z as 3 output ports. Okay. I have 3 input ports and 3 output ports here. Okay. I have a packet that is arriving at input port A and I want that to be transferred to output port Y. How can I do it? When a packet arrives at input port to the router, it calculates with the help of routing processor, it calculates the appropriate output port. So, when it calculates the output port, it is determined that it has to be pushed to Y. Then the input, the packet that is there at the input port A will be copied to the memory here, and then it is copied onto the output port Y. Okay. During the copying of packet from A to Y, it is what is happening? It is memory read and write is happening here. Okay. We are performing the operation memory read and write. Okay. We are writing the packet from this to here, that becomes your memory write, and then from here to here, when you are copying a packet, it becomes a memory read. Okay. Memory read and write operation is happening here. So, when I say we are sharing the memory of a system in order to switch a packet from input port to output port, we can do it only for one packet at a time, isn't it? Because memory operations, read write operation can be performed only one at a time, right. So, at a time we can serve only a single packet here. Okay. So, that is the first criteria through which we can switch our packets. The second method is using a shared bus between these two. So, how exactly it looks? Instead of this memory, we will have a bus here. Okay, we are going to make use of bus. In the same way, we are having 3 input ports and 3 output ports. Here in case of bus, again if I want to transfer a packet from input port A to input port Y, it travels through this bus. Same forwarding and all those things will remain the same. Okay. So, it uses this bus in order to transmit. Okay. Here in this case also we can serve only one packet at a time, because since it is a shared bus, if a packet is already traversing through this bus, if we get any more packets from any of these input ports, from input port B or input port C, those packets need to wait until the packets from input port A is being transmitted to Y. Okay. Only after it finishes its work, the other ports are allowed to push its packets to the bus in order to transmit it to the respective output port. Okay. That becomes our second criteria or second method through which we can switch. The third method is crossbar. Here we will have different paths available. I will show you how it is. So, here in case of crossbar or interconnection, we have 3 input ports A, B, C and we have 3 output ports X, Y, Z. Here we have different paths for in between these ports. We can transfer packets from A to X through this bus. Through this bus we can transfer from A to Y. Similarly, from A to Z we can have this path, right. We are having several paths to transfer packets from input port to output port here. Each horizontal bus is intersecting with a vertical bus. Okay. So, at this point, whenever a packet has been moved from input port to output port, that respective port, that particular intersection will be closed, so that no other packet will enter that. For example, if I want to send a packet from A to Y, then I am following this path. Okay. When I say I am following this path, these particular point will be closed, so that no other packets enter this particular bus. Okay. So, a packet will be transferred from A to Y. Simultaneously, when a packet is getting transmitted between A to Y, we can also transmit a packet from B to X through this path, right. So, simultaneously we can transfer more than one packet. Okay. we can transmit more than one packet, or we can switch more than one packet with the help of crossbar connections that we are having here, a grid like pattern. Okay. So, the problem with the network, problem with the previous two approaches, that when we were doing it with memory and bus, was resolved in this case. Okay. So, simultaneously we can transmit packets from different input ports to different output ports, but only one thing, if we need to transmit a packet, if we have a packet queued here at A, okay, and A is already transmitting from packet is already transmitting from A to Y, the remaining packets need to wait for its turn until it finishes this. Okay. Only after the transmission of packet from A to Y finishes, after that we can push the remaining packets which are lined up at port A to the respective or appropriate output ports. Okay. This is about the switching. If we consider the configuration and the functionality of input and output ports that we have studied so far, it is clearly evident that the packets that are arriving at the input port and transmitting to the output port and going out of the output port, during this process of transmission from input port to the output port, it will traverse through switching fabric also. So, the contention of queues, the contention of packets which will form a waiting queue for these packets might occur in all these places. Either it can happen at input port, or it can happen at output port, or it can happen within the switching fabric also. The reasons or the contributing factors for this contention of packets might be the rate at which the switching fabric transmits our packets from input port to output port, or it could be the speed with which these lines, either input line or output line, transmits a packet to its respective destination. Okay. All these factors contributes to the queuing of the packets inside a router. Okay. So, keeping that in mind, what will happen if queuing occurs? When too much of packets deposits, when too much of packets arrive at the same place in the router, then exhaust might happen, memory exhaust might happen, due to which we will lose data, right. When there is no space to accommodate newly arriving packet inside the router, the newly arrived packet will be dropped or it will be marked. So, here we are going to lose the data, which will result in loss of data packets in network. Okay. Suppose that we have our switch. Our switch represents the rate at which a packet is moved from input port to the output port by switch fabric. Okay. Our switch represents the rate of transmission of packets from input port to the output port by switch fabric, and we have R line which represents the rate of transmission with which a packet is moved in a line, through line. It can be input or output. Okay. It can be an input line or an output line. Thinking that both input port line and output port line runs with the same speed, we are keeping R line as a speed with which the packets are transmitted through line. Okay. And N input ports are there and we have N output ports. Okay. This is the scenario which we are considering. We have R switch, the rate at which switching fabric is switching packets from input port to output port, and R line which represents the transmission rate with which a line is transmitting a packet through it. There are N input ports that we are considering and N output ports that we are considering. Considering that our R switch is N times R line, that is R switch transmits a packet N times faster than R line. If in this scenario, what will happen? Switching fabric will be able to transmit all the packets that are arriving from n input ports to the respective output ports. By the time the next bunch or the next set of packets arrives here, all the packets from the n input ports might have been transferred to the respective output ports. So, here no contention of queues no contention of packets will happen here. So, there is no queuing occur at switching fabric as well as input port, isn't it? Since we have n input ports and n output ports, and switching fabric acts n times faster than the line transmission rate, all the packets that are arriving at n input ports will be transferred to output ports without delay. So, there is no chance of accumulation of packets here either at the input ports or at the switching fabric. Okay. Now, these two things are out of question. So, what happens with respect to output port? What will happen here? Keeping the same scenario, okay, R switch, R line, n input, n output ports, and our R switch is n times R line. Okay. What will happen in output port? Here there might be n packets from n input ports, and all are accumulated or all are diverted or all are transmitted to the same output port. For example, I will show it with an example. Here I have n input ports, here our switching fabric is there, I have n output ports, okay. But all the packets that are arriving at all these three input ports are destined to same output port, okay. In this case, what will happen at time t, all n packets will be queued here, right? All n packets are queued here, but at a time only one packet can be transmitted in output line, right? So, one packet will be transmitted and remaining two packets will be in the queue. By the time it transmits one packet, one next set of packets will arrive from all these three input ports. And since switching fabric is capable enough of transmitting all these packets with a speed of n times R line, it transmits all the packets again to the same output port since they are destined to it. We already had two packets, along with this 3 more packets arrived here, which resulted in 5 packets accumulated and 5 packets formed a queue here in the output port 1. So, this result in queuing at output port. What will happen when this grows? As time grows, as time elapses, by the time it serves the next packet, once again we will have next bunch of packets arriving from different input ports to the same output port. Again accumulation grows on. When this grows on, what will happen? It will result in memory exhaust, right? When memory get exhausted, then there is a need of taking a decision whether to drop a newly arriving packet or whether to drop the packets which are already queued here, okay. So, we need to have a mechanism or we need to have a algorithm with which we can make a decision, with which the router has to make a decision. That is one thing. So, here data loss comes into picture, right? There is a loss of packet, isn't it? So, in output port packets are getting accumulated, which will result in data loss. Along with this, one more question arises. What is that? We have 5 packets, right? 3 more packets are getting in here, which will result in 8, 5 plus 3, 8. So, when this output port finishes transmitting a packet which is getting transmitted, it has to take the next packet which need to be transmitted. So, which among these 8 packets need to be considered? Even that has to be handled, right? So, a scheduler need to decide that. So, these are the two things which need to be considered when queuing occurs at the output port. We will understand this in a much better way with an example. Okay, consider the scenario here. At time t, okay, 3 packets are arriving here. 3 packets are arriving at 3 input ports which we have here. All these 3 packets are destined to move to this same output port. Okay. So, all of these are moved to the output port, that is first output port, which is at the top. Okay. Since switch fabric is capable enough of transferring all these input packets which are at the input port, it transfers all the packets to the output ports. All these are queued here. Okay. So, only one among them will be served at time t. So, by the end of time t, we have one packet that is served and 2 packets are queued here in the output port, right. At the same time, simultaneously 2 more packets are arriving here in the first and last input port. 2 more packets are arriving, and even both these 2 packets are destined to the same output port. Once again, switching fabric will pushes those 2 packets to the output port, which will result in queuing at the output port. Okay. Now, all the 5 packets are made to wait for their turn. Here we need to discuss 2 things. Okay. The very first thing is, among the 5 packets, which is the packet that particular output port is going to serve next. So, packet scheduler, okay, packet scheduler which resides at output port line, it is the duty of packet scheduler to decide which packet among the queued, here we are having 5 packets, right, which among these 5 packets need to be served, need to be picked next in order to transmit it through output line. Okay. That decision need to be taken care by packet scheduler. In order to do that, this packet scheduler makes use of various algorithms like first come first serve basis or average, wait, fair queue, like that. So, there are so many algorithms with the help of which packet scheduler is going to pick the packet among the packets which are queued here to assure the quality of service. So, by using these algorithms, packet scheduler schedules a packet in order to transmit it through a output port, thereby it assures the quality of service guaranteed to the packets which are there in the queue. And then we need to think about the second aspect, that is what will happen when too much of packets are getting deposited in the queue. That will result in memory exhaust. Okay, when too much of packets are getting accumulated here, it results in memory exhaust. As I already told you, there is a need to decide which packet need to be entertained, that is whether to entertain a newly arriving packet or an already existing packet here. So, which one to entertain here? Since we do not have enough memory to keep both newly arriving packets as well as an already existing packets, then here there is a necessity of deciding which packet to entertain, whether a newly arriving packet need to be dropped or marked, or one or more packets which are there in the queue are going to be dropped. To do this, there is a mechanism called active queue management. What do we mean by this? Active queue management. Okay, this is a mechanism with which we are going to do this work. Okay, so one among the most widely and exorbitantly used active queue management is RAID, that is rapid early detection algorithm. This is the algorithm which is most widely used algorithm to perform active queue management in case of managing the buffer, okay, queue buffer. In this case, what we will do in RAID, for each output link there will be a weighted average. Okay, a weighted average will be provided or will be kept for each of these lines. Okay, if the value of this weighted average is lesser than the minimum threshold, then a newly arriving packet will be allowed to get into the queue. If the value of this weighted average exceeds the maximum threshold, then the newly arriving packets will be discarded. Okay, that is how RED works. So, by this we can conclude that contention of packets can occur at output port when there is a switch fabric with efficiency of transmitting all the packets that are arriving at the input port to the output port, right. So, it just transmits and there will be no contention at this place, but all the transmitted packets will be at this portion, right. So, the contention takes place at the output port. Now, there is a question. We have seen that contention is happening at the output port and switch fabric is not allowing any packet to reside in it. Don't you think that contention can also happen in the input port side? Yes, it can happen. When switching fabric is not fast enough to transmit all the packets that are arriving here to the output port, then contention happens at input port line also. We will have a look at it with an example. Now, consider a scenario, same scenario where we have 3 input ports, 3 output ports and we have switch fabric. At time t, what will happen? We will have packets at input ports, right. Now, our packets from input port 1 and 3 are destined to move to port 1. The first packets from input port 1 and 3 are destined to move to output port 1, and the packet here in the second port is destined to move to third output port. There is no hurdle here, this gets transmitted easily. Okay, but here when I say packet, the first packet of first input port and the first packet of third input port, both are destined to same output port, any one among them will be transmitted here. Since switching fabric is not fast enough here, we are considering that switching fabric is not fast enough to transfer all n input packets. Okay, all packets from n input ports will not be transmitted at once. At a time, it can transmit only one packet. In that scenario, at a time, one packet will be served. Okay. So, the other packet here, the packet in the third input port is made to wait. Okay. Even though the packet behind this first packet is destined to move to the second output port, it has to wait until this packet get transmitted to port 1, output port 1. Since now switching fabric is transmitting this packet, okay, this has to wait for its turn. Okay. Until this finishes its transmission, the packet which is queued behind this, which is supposed to transmit to the output port 2, is made to wait until this finishes its transmission. So, during this process, few more packets might arrive at input ports, which will result in accumulation of packets at input port. So, by this we can conclude that packet accumulation can happen either in output port or in input port, depending upon the speed or the rate at which the transmission of packets from input port to output port can happen with the help of switching fabric. In case of output port, we need to consider two things. One is picking the packets among the packets which are there in the queue. For that, we use packet scheduler, and the second thing is when we move out of memory, when we get exhausted with respect to memory, in that case we will use AQM, that is active queue management system. In RED is one among the widely used algorithm in order to perform this task, in which it specifies which packet that is going to be dropped in order to maintain the balance in the transmission rate. So, this concludes our first part, that is router. What do we mean by router? What do we mean by output link and input link? What are the components of routers? And what happens in each of these components? How exactly input port channel works, how exactly output port channel works, what switch fabric does, and how our routing processor works in coordination with input ports. So, this concludes our first topic of this module. The next topic that we are going to discuss is Internet Protocol. In that, we are going to discuss about IPv6. Okay, we will do it in the next class. Thank you.